has said everything is part of this globalized, if you will, propaganda campaign. So this broke recently as well, where it all ties in together. UK government has allegedly paid social media influencers for covert propaganda. So this is from GB Politics. I'm not sure where this excerpt of whatever it is that I'm reading is actually from, because it's just a screenshot. Let me have a look. Where is it? And it makes you think about people like Gary's Economics and all these other people, right? Makes you think about what they're trying to push. So it says here, the UK government is secretly paying foreign YouTube stars to publish propaganda videos, revealed by Declassified. A 3-year investigation has found that online influencers are made to sign legal contracts banning them from disclosing the government's involvement. Whitehall officials gave, quote, feedback, unquote, on each video before the influencers are allowed to publish them. The work is coordinated by a London-based media agency, Zinc Network Limited, on behalf of the Foreign Office, in a deal worth nearly £10 million of public money. You paid for this. You paid to have propaganda shoved down your throat, or shoved down the throats of other people with foreign influences. The really shocking thing here, if you will, is that this was co-founded by a former Conservative Party spin doctor. The company has won lucrative contracts from the UK, US, and Australian governments, becoming a major player in Western influence operations. So this is what I mean. Everything has been a massive propaganda campaign. You know, damn near everything has been a massive Psy-op. So we have got the article here from Declassified UK. Zinc has previously been exposed for secretly setting up Muslim news platforms on Facebook as part of the government's counter-extremism prevent strategy. But the company's foreign influence tactics can now be exposed thanks to whistleblowers, leaked documents, freedom of information disclosures, and analysis of dozens of LinkedIn profiles. So we have election interference. One former employee described Zinc's work as state propaganda, quote unquote, and accused it of interference in foreign elections. Another said the relationship with some online influencers was, quote, extremely exploitative, unquote. In recent years, the company has recruited hundreds of internet celebrities for various clients, particularly in Central and Eastern Europe, key battleground in the information war with Russia. Everything is always fucking Russia at the moment. Makes you think, did this have anything to do, did the UK government have anything to do with what was going on in the Romanian elections? You know, what was going on in the Romanian elections? Did they try to influence the Polish ones, right? That luckily Karol Nawrocki won anyway. Zinc staff tried to find the, quote, most relatable influencers, unquote, and ensured that every video, quote, feels authentic, unquote. So we have election interference. The work has included a campaign to mobilize young voters in the 2023 Slovakian elections. That election was ultimately won by Robert Fico's left-wing nationalist Smer party, which is seen as being, quote, pro-Russian, unquote, which has been, quote, dependent on older voters, unquote, compared to the younger pro-Europe progressive Slovakia party. So that's quite interesting, isn't it? That's quite interesting, isn't it? All trying to mobilize young people who are very malleable, if you will, and able to be molded into revolutionaries for the revolution and generating pro-Europe sentiment so that they can bring them into the EU and put all the slave sanctions on them. One former employee said that by targeting younger voters, Zinc Network's campaign amounted to, quote, interference in a sovereign country's internal affairs. Interference in a sovereign country's internal affairs. Source said that the company's executives, quote, see the world through their British eyes, unquote, adding it looked like dictating the foreign will. So is this a case of, again, another aspect of pseudo-colonialism on the part of the modern British now, where, oh, it's okay if we do it? Oh, we have to look at colonialism in the past and we have to call it evil and all of this, and we have to use that to fuel the replacement narratives. But when we do some kind of through our British eyes and we do colonialism that way, that's okay? Of course it is. There's always rules for thee and not for me. And that comes through in the Online Safety Act as well. So the Online Safety Act is something that's just published, which if you, in the UK, you see a lot of things now like, oh, this content has been temporarily restricted until X can verify your age, even though there is no way to verify your age on X at the moment. But do you want to know the kinds of illegal content and activity platforms need to protect users from that are set out in the Act are? Now, some of them are, you know, obviously very good, right? So child sexual abuse, extreme sexual violence, extreme pornography, fraud, right? Inciting violence, promoting or facilitating suicide, intimate image abuse, right? Do you want to know what's also on there, though, ladies and gentlemen? Illegal immigration and people smuggling. I wonder why that one's on there. I wonder why that one's on there. And again, it's put in all of these bullet points because if you then object to the Act because you see this bullet point in there, it makes you wonder why would they want, you know, to censor information with regards to illegal immigration, people smuggling, right? Why do they want to censor information towards racially or religiously aggravated public order offences? You know, maybe they want to censor information about the Manchester airport attack that happened the other day where the judge said that, oh, these gentlemen have good character. You know, I think the verdict's in. I haven't seen the verdict yet. But obviously, if you then say, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I heard a big vibrate then. I just wanted to, I didn't know if it was, that was a bit thing. Oh, well, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that really took me by surprise. Because then if you say, oh, no, well, no, we should repeal the Online Safety Act. Oh, well, hang on. You want kids to be, you want to see child sexual abuse? You want to see extreme sexual violence, extreme pornography? Like, no, I understand that this is being done to curtail people's freedom of speech on these issues that adults really should be interested in, which I believe I was going to talk about this in the next episode. But this is something I will talk about now. There was a video that came out recently that somebody shared, and it said here, where's the video? Where's the video? I did bookmark it, didn't I? There it is. I've got it. Oh, wait, what? Where'd it go? There it is. There it is. So this is a video. Now, I haven't watched this video yet because I was going to talk about it on the next episode. But this is a video. Barry Gardiner, a Labour MP, has, I'm going to say allegedly at the moment because I haven't seen the video, we're going to watch it together, finally admits the online safety bill is to stop adults' free speech that they don't like. So yeah, it might not be in those exact terms, but this is video really showing what, I might look foolish after playing this, I don't know, what the bill was always about from the very, very start.
If it's just about children, is it just about children, or does it focus on adults?
That should be an elite squad.
Barry, does it just
protect 13-year-olds?
I'm sorry, the elite squad is not about children. Actually, shall I read you the thing? An elite squad of police officers is to monitor social media for anti-migrant sentiment. I don't think 13-year-olds are engaging that. So, is it also to monitor adults? Simple question, yes or no?
Yes, of course it will.
Okay, there we go.
Look, sorry.
There we are. There we are. Fantastic. I'll play it for you one more time, ladies and gentlemen.
The squad of police officers is to monitor social media for anti-migrant sentiment. I don't think 13-year-olds are engaging that. So is it also to monitor adults? Simple question, yes or no?
Yes, of course it will.
Okay,
There we go. Look, sorry.
There we are. So there we go. Literally just says to monitor anti-migrant sentiment. And that's a perfectly good reason why people should be against this bill. Should be against this bill because it is being done to purposely stop people from talking about what they know is a problem and things that are getting away from providing resistance to what the government does not want you talking about, because they want to go through with these initiatives and they just don't want people getting in the way. They don't want our country, for example, looking like Poland, which is very, very sad, because you want to see what Poland is like. This is something that somebody posted the other day, and it said that why do globalists demand Poland must accept migrants? And the Pope put out something, again, those who accept migrants, whatever the hell he said, you know, basically sounded like Pope Francis in a slightly different font. You know what I mean? Makes you wonder, why are you just trying to destroy this? This is the president, by the way. I'm going to put it on mute because I got a feeling it'll get copyright claimed. But this is a video, ladies and gentlemen. You have the Catholic procession, I believe it is. You have fireworks. You have Poles celebrating Polish culture and their faith, right? Perfectly safe. There's no terror attacks. You have strong family structure with a strong faith background. This is what they want to destroy. This is what they want to destroy. It's awful. It's awful. Well, another example of what's going on with the government trying to hide things from the public, ladies and gentlemen, was what was disclosed by Disclosed TV. Researchers conspired to hide tests to dim the sun to avoid scaring the public, comms show. Conspiracy, conspiracy, quote unquote. A University of Washington research team covertly planned a solar geoengineering experiment to dim sunlight by creating clouds of over a 3,900 square mile ocean area of North America, Chile, and South Central Africa. The Marine Cloud Brightening Program, backed by billionaire donors like Chris Larson, deliberately withheld plans from the public and local officials to, quote, avoid scaring them, unquote, as revealed in internal texts. A smaller test on a retired aircraft carrier in Alameda, California, was halted in June 2024 after city officials, unaware until media reports surfaced, banned it for violating lease terms. So, Wednesday, August 23rd. A lot of big things being said and happening on my birthday the last couple of years. It says here, it's a text here, ladies and gentlemen. Andrew wants to do an early morning TMW, I'm assuming team meeting, something, in advance of a strategy meeting with Jess, and I am fading already. Do you think you can manage the Hornet meeting without me? I'd be looking for good write-up of specifics, but I think Jessica is proceeding well there. Happy for you to ask about the city manager, and I can follow up on connecting. We already had that information from earlier. You can mention that we think it's safest to get air quality review help and are pursuing that in advance of engaging, but I'd avoid, pardon me, scaring them. It says overly, but I'm assuming it means overtly. We want them to work largely on the assumption that things are a go. Team secrecy extended to strategic concealment. A silver lining communications strategist, Jesus Chavez, however you say it, explicitly directed there shall be no mention of the study taking place in Alameda in a November 2023 email. Internal documents show that researchers avoided engaging Alameda leaders, relying on museum staff to manage relations while downplaying risks to ensure cooperation. Plans for a larger test costing $10 to $20 million involved seeking federal ships and funding from the NOAA, which I believe is the National, it's like Aeronautics Administration, something like that. Oceanic and Aeronautics Administration, I think it's called, and the Department of Energy. But these prospects faded after the Alameda backlash and Trump's re-election. It says here, from this message, I'm not sure where this is from, an initial limited field study would involve establishing multiple parallel sea salt aerosol plumes on multiple platforms traversing a region of the minimum size necessary to observe a significant change in cloud brightness, known as albedo. This is approximately 100 kilometers by 100 kilometers. In this experiment, the multiple plumes would disperse and create a single broad perturbed area downwind. At such scales, meaningful changes in clouds will be readily detectable from space using current satellite sensing technology alongside surface and aircraft observations to capture aerosol and low cloud properties. Again, it should surprise you none that it's relied on partnership with whatever UW stands for, SRI International, Silver Lining. SRI International, based in Silicon Valley, drives innovation, quote unquote, across technical and scientific fields, impacting lives through groundbreaking technologies over 75 years. Silver Lining, headquartered in Washington, D.C., advances research to mitigate near-term climate change impacts. So basically, researchers, and this is where, again, I made a podcast a little while ago on my other podcast titled Conflicts of Interest, and I talked about how I still think a lot of it is true. A lot of time, like, researchers, even if they have questionable sources of funding, they do sometimes secure, that there's going to be no iffing with the results and stuff like that. I'm not saying that the entire scientific enterprise is, bunk or anything like that. But when you see stories like this, where it's just that researchers conspired to hide tests and hide their research, again, it just unnecessarily damages the scientific enterprise. It shows you're not being transparent, you're doing things underhandedly, and you still expect us to trust you? Why would you expect that? To quote unquote avoid scaring them? Well, maybe you should be more transparent in why you're doing things that would result in people being very scared. Maybe you should not do those things either,